Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is a long-awaited day for a lot of content creators. I got it on my black background where I took my pictures, if you're wondering. The USACC 1970 GTX or Roadrunner group build. And I'm done. And there it is. Been done with it except for the exhaust and the drive shaft. I was going to pull a Model Cars with Glenn and not put a drive shaft, but I thought, you know what, I'd better put one in there. So I built a drive shaft and scratch built some mufflers and exhaust for it. Thought that was pretty cool. And there's the train. Can you believe it? It already went by one time today, but anyway, or one time this evening. Maybe he was stopped and he's taking off again. I don't know. But anyway, back to the build. Super fun build. I had high expectations for my car, and I feel like I succeeded. I think it turned out pretty darn sweet, especially the white color. It's actually not white. It's I can't remember the color, but anyway, it's a somewhat of a cream color. You gotta love the train. Got to love the train. But it is a somewhat of a cream color MCW. I used decals. I did remove the GTX emblems there because there ain't no way I could have painted those, and I used decals. It was a factory style decal. I did see I guess it's factory style, at least the cars I saw. I saw a white one and it had this, or actually it was a red one and it had this type of decal, so I used it. Not that you guys haven't seen the decals and all that stuff, you just haven't seen an actual, formal video of the completed build, but here it is nevertheless. I think it turned out great. Very proud of it. Love the wheels. I think that's other than the engine, that's my favorite part, is the wheels. My friend Alan made those, 3D printed those for me, the wheels and tires, and I think it just made it because it's a stock style wheel, but it look how deep they are, and doesn't that look just mean? I think they turned out just absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much, Alan. I've got another set. He built me a first set that was about 1/25th scale ish, so they were just a little too small for the wheel wells, but I've got those, and those will go good on a 1/25th scale Duster. And I can't wait for that to happen. So anyway, inside I did add some seat belts just for a little, ain't like you can see them. But anyway, there's some seat belts in there. Oh, I can brighten it up. Hold on. If I can get it to look inside there. It ain't happening, folks. You know me and my camera. Anyway, there's some burgundy colors there. You can kind of see them right there. Seat belts on the seats. I didn't have any other color but burgundy, but now I do. I've got black. I bought them at Roanoke at the model show. So let's look at the car. It has a 3D printed Dodge Hemi, which I thought was fitting because it's a Dodge, or it's a Chrysler or Plymouth or whatever. Plymouth Roadrunner Chrysler GTX. I'm not good with the Dodge stuff, I'll be honest with you. But I wanted to do something blown, and I found this engine, and it just looked, I just thought it turned out really cool, especially the Hillborn injection or whatever it's called. It's the same engine that Ruthie has in her Pumpkin Mobile, except for the injection and the exhaust is different. So take the hood off and do some explaining here. So very clean engine compartment. I took out all the inner fender wells, created my own firewall, and yes, it's a very naked firewall, to say the least. You wouldn't want to drive this one downhill because it ain't got no brakes. So yeah, I left the firewall clean. And one other thing to explain is, I'm sure I will get it in the comments if I didn't mention it, is where's the radiator hose, Matthew? Well, I didn't think this through completely. This is a drag, like would have been a nitromethane type of drag engine. Doesn't even have a water pump. It's got a timing chain cover, and that's it. There's no water pump. So if you ain't got a water pump, it's kind of hard to plumb water into it. So this is meant for one pass and one pass only at the time. And you better be running alcohol to keep her cool, because it ain't got no radiator. It's got a radiator. It just ain't hooked up. But I couldn't, you know, I wasn't going to jerry rig some, you know, radiator hose sticking into the front of the engine that doesn't have a water pump. So I just wasn't going to do it. So count points off. I did one custom thing, and I'm so proud of it. You see that fuel line right there? Yep. I made a fuel line. I hardly ever do things like that. But I made the fuel line, and it runs down to the bottom of the engine. Doesn't really go anywhere. It doesn't go to the gas tank. The plug wires do have the little retainers on the plug wires. As you can see, I think there's 3 of them. There's 2, and then there's a 3, and then there's a 4. And they're like that on both sides. But it turned out nice. I re-chromed everything. So if it's chrome on here, except the bare metal foil, I re-chromed it. Let's see. I used... I was all over the place with my chrome paint. The blower is AK chrome, and I think the engine is Alclad, and I think the injector scoop is Alclad, but the blower is AK. So if you can see a difference in the colors, the Alclad is a little less on the shiny or gloss, and then they were all on a gloss black. But anyway, I think they all look nice. Spaz Sticks is what we painted Ruthies with, and it looks really nice too. So the hood turned out nice. Did paint it under the hood, but it turned out nice how the whole, and one unfortunate thing, when I put the car together, put the chassis and everything in it, there was a twist in the chassis, I believe it was. Something was twisted, and when I got it all glued together, there's a slight tweak in the body which made the hood rattle a little bit, which is disappointing because it made my gaps off, but that's okay. It's okay. There's the back. I did hand paint. Oops. I did hand paint. There we go. Tone her down a little bit. GTX and Plymouth was hand painted, and I got a GTX license plate there. Yeah, turned out nice. So let's look under the bottom at my custom made. Now the bottom of the car has no detail, little to no detail. The only detail you're going to see is a drive shaft and exhaust, because I just didn't do any underside details. Just didn't want to. And this is what the underside looks like. So those mufflers, and I got one longer than the other, it looks like. You see that top one is longer than the bottom one. Darn it. How did that happen? I measured and measured and measured. But you see my tires? Aren't those cool? Those are those 3D printed tires. They're hard, you know, they're hard resin, but I just painted them to make them look like rubber. I think the underside of the car is like semi-gloss black. The engine fit well as far as lining up with the cross member and everything. It was almost as if it was made for it. Except those headers. They were not made for it. So there's a few of the steering parts aren't quite there. But we're drag racing. We just keep her straight. So we locked it in straight so it can't go around any corners. I did really like my gold engine block and oil paint and all that. Thought that turned out nice. And then the transmission, I painted it with a heck, I can't remember what Alclad or AK paint it was. Can't remember. Drive shaft is homemade. I just took a piece of tubing and put the drive shaft ends in there. Okay, so the mufflers, I had to I made those. I scratch built the mufflers. The exhaust tubing is that's solder. First solder exhaust ever made. So those are solder. I bent I bent the solder and cut it off, and then hollowed the tubes out to make it look like turn downs, which I think turned out pretty darn neat. And for the size of the pipes, I think they're just about right. The muffler itself was, I did not have a clue what I was going to make these things out of. So I just found a big giant piece of sprue. You know, sometimes some of the older kits, especially, I don't remember what kit it was because the sprue was blue, but it was a big giant piece of sprue. Oh, I do remember, it was an old Chrysler Imperial that I took some of the parts and bagged them up, and I took a few off the tree. So the tree was left over. So this, excuse me. Let me turn this dang light down above my head here. It's a little bright. I think it's washing everything out. There we go. So I just took that big piece of sprue and stuck it in the drill. It was round, sort of round already, and just took it and spun it in my drill, and I just made 2 mufflers, you know, drilled holes in the ends of them, and there it was. So that's my custom exhaust and my custom drive shaft, and that's all the detail of the Underside guide, other than just black paint. And I did move, and you probably remember this from the build, but I did move the leaf springs inboard of the frame, because to get the tires under it, you'd had to do that. Lucas C also did that. He moved his inboard. But yeah, all the bumpers are Alcladders AK, can't remember, but it did turn out nice. And I want to say thanks to everybody for supporting all these builders during this. It was a lot of fun. It was extended because Mark Batson had an accident and injured himself and couldn't build for a while, and this was his pick. So we all wanted to make sure that he was able to finish his as well. So yeah, just thank you all for your support of this modeling community and watching us guys build these cars. It's so much fun, and to have support from the community like we do makes it that much better. So with that said, I have taken several pictures already of this car, and I'll show them at the end here, so don't go away until you see the pictures. But yeah, thanks for your support of my channel through this build, all the positive comments that I got and always do. Thank you guys for supporting Ruthie also. Means a lot to me, means a lot to her. And if you have a junior in your house and you build model cars, go get them one. It doesn't have to be an elaborate build. Let them snap something together. Let them use those fingers God gave them to put something together, and learn how to do something besides play video games. I'm not saying video games are detrimental to people or to kids, but use your imagination. That's what this is all about, imagination. So with that said, again, I'm done. Check out Hobby Nut Models. The paint on this car and the AK that you see was purchased from Hobby Nut Models. It was a very nice, I enjoyed the paint. It looks very nice and glossy. And just go check out Mark's inventory over at hobbynutmodels.com, linked in the description below, as well as my Facebook group. Go check that out. Model Car Videos Facebook group. I'm trying to get a picture of those darn, a shot of those seat belts. It just ain't gonna cooperate. I need to put a GoFundMe in for a new camera, I guess. Yes, Matthew, that's exactly what you need to do. Yeah, I know I do. One that focuses a little faster at least. But go check out the Facebook group and the Patreon page and the Facebook group if you, and the Teespring store if you haven't already. Go check it out and go grab yourself a t-shirt or a sticker or something like that, and helps the channel out tremendously. Check out everything linked in the description of my video, and I guess I'm done. Until the next announcement of what the kit is going to be from whoever is drawn out of the hat, we shall see. That kind of rhymed. It almost sounded like a fairy tale. Yep. Until now, it's going on the shelf. And I will enjoy this thing for quite some time. That's what it's all about, guys. Have fun and enjoy yourself. All right. You guys take care. We'll see you later. Bye.